Too small, right? Too small for you to read.
For sure.
Yeah, let me increase the font. Yeah, probably. It's better. Can you see now? Okay. Yeah, let's start.
Right here.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
Wherever Buddhism took root, monks, nuns, and devout lay followers established monasteries, independent corporate institutions which influenced local societies and regional polities.
Can you see polities?
Polities. Yeah. India's early Sangha disregarded the Varna of its members. In Buddhism's subsequent missionary migrations, ordination into the Sangha offered citizens an opportunity for religious practice and educational advancement that was otherwise unavailable. Buddhism, in turn, depended upon householders making donations to the Sangha in order to earn merit to improve their karma, become the blessings for themselves, their families, and community. So it's kind of like what we were talking about a few weeks ago about how the Buddha let pretty much anybody of any social class come in. Like the caste system just didn't matter at all. You know, but then it also talks about how they were dependent on the laity to kind of help keep things going for the monasteries.
Even nowadays, in some countries like Burma, Sri Lanka, Thailand, Nepal, and so forth, there's many poor children, so they go to the Buddhist temple to have education. And when they're 18, they may stay back to become Buddhist monk officially, formally, or they move on.
I think the monks, so those two brothers, out of, I think there were hundreds of them when they were younger. I think only like 36.
Really?
And they're in their mid-30s. So they're the oldest. Yeah, they're the oldest of them.
So they say that
very few people.
Yeah, so 100 of them, so about, you say 36% is the men. That's still high number then. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, at the Buddhist center, we provide the free education for the youth. Yeah, that's why, especially many young or poor families, we send their children there. Okay, that's why. So you see, there's some novices, right? They're still young.
Well, there's so many.
Still young. Young. Okay, let's just move on. I'm sorry. Okay, one more thing. So we know, right? You know, right? We run ourselves independently from each other, but we still have connection. Like those temple around here, there's no central authorities. It's just in the horizontal aspect, horizontal approaches. So there's no one that we need to defer to, unless they are our teacher. You know, it work in the democratic way of life. We discussed last week. And in long term, it's more healthy, right? Than the vertical one, when the authoritarian one that you get the order from top down. If the top was corrupt, the whole system collapse, and the bottom too. But in the horizontal scam, so if one monk or nun corrupt, so the other ones still develop, or something. If something happen, in the Democrat way of life, it's more healthy, like the forest. Okay, yeah. So,
The typical Buddhist community had its center in the monastery, Vihara, where monks or nuns would take their communal vows, meditate, and study. Over time, these institutions also supported monks who specialized in memorizing the teachings, preaching the Dharma, practicing medicine, and performing rituals essential to the Buddhist lifestyle of locality.
okay, you can stop. You can stop. Yeah.
So the monks would memorize the teachings and support the community. The community would support the monks, and the monks would support the community with the Dharma, medicine.
Yes, so some monks specialize in memorizing the sutra, some monks specialize in ritual performance, some monks specialize in meditation. So everyone is different. It's not in unison. So depends. This is like depend on their wish. Yeah, Anand, how you been, Anand?
Dạ, mô Phật thầy, con chào thầy. Yeah, I'm okay.
You driving?
I'm driving, take my son to activity every Friday.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I'm listening.
Yeah, Ivan, please. Yeah. Yeah, and
An important distinction within Buddhist monasticism between the forest monastery, where meditation, optional aesthetic practice, could be undertaken, often under the leadership of charismatic teaching, the village monastery, where compassionate service, spiritual medicine, could be blended with cultivation, dwelling. These dwellings were favored in some regions, notably, though somewhat later in civilization, typically a monk or nun moved between village and forest monastery in the course of his or her career.
okay. Sorry, I need to turn on this one. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, can you zoom out, please? Can you see the whole thing?
Just the development through time going, like you mentioned, slightly different. The small village monastery, how it supported the ritual and oral tradition of written tradition. The monasteries they're learning.
So sometimes we stay in the city like this to teach and to provide charitable work. Sometimes we go up there to do meditation ourselves. And some monks and nuns they take up to the cave. If we don't have, you have a cave, but this is dangerous, right? Right. If it's public, right? As long as this belong to our property, you can do. Otherwise, it's too dangerous.
I know they have, watch them live in their caves.
What's that?
You can watch them live in their caves. They teach now from their caves.
There's a lot of cave around here.
Oh, no, I'm talking about like in the Himalayas.
I know I'm talking about here.
Oh, yeah.
It's not easy, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't think anywhere.
Too many hikers.
Yeah.
It's dangerous no matter where you go.
A cavern.
Missouri.
Mhm.
Find caverns.
Big one, right? This is.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mm.
Runs all the way to New York.
Yeah, some people just want to take up and spend their time there to do meditation, to do their spiritual practice. In this type of society, right, Western is still rare, right? It's still rare for people to take off. Usually they will make more money, give up the wealth. Yeah, and Stephen, please.
In many areas, The focus and inspiration for followers was a monk whose charisma and teaching ability drew both ascetic disciples and meritorious donations from the laity. The biographies of such monks commonly resemble that of the Buddha. Disillusionment followed by renunciation and retreat to the wilderness, enlightenment, then returning to teach.
Mm.
It's the top part, I believe, it's trying to say how each individual monk have a way of teaching that will attract the followers to come and learn. And then, of course, with donations, of course, to be able to support the Sangha. And then, of course, the bottom part, I'm a little bit didn't quite understand that second part there.
You understand this?
The biographies of the monks, so kind of what these monks had done before had lived very similarly to the Buddha. And then so which would be disillusionment from, so that means saying that you're done with worldly life, and then followed by renunciation, saying I choose to leave the worldly life, and then retreat to the wilderness, so similar to the Buddha, and then make some sort of attainment, and once they make some sort of attainment, they come back and have followers.
Mm. Yes, it's in Vietnam, even in Thailand, some king they let go of their throne to become Buddhist monks, especially in Thailand for a while, for a few years, or sometimes more than 10 years. So after that, they came back to run the country. In Vietnam, in some cases that kings just left their throne to become Buddhist monk for the rest of their life. And some princess, or even nowadays, many famous people, they're successful people, they give up everything, become Buddhist monk now. So it's common, but not in the West. There's no way, no way you can find billionaires to give up everything to the wilderness, right? To seek for a spiritual life. Right? It's still rare, you would not hear, right? In the West, because they get used of that. So the idea of denunciation, the idea of developing spiritual life in the late light or in the midst of successfulness of doing business is pure.
There's a maybe he's about my age, maybe a bit younger, monk on YouTube that's pretty well. I mean, I think he was like our lot of viewers. He makes great content, but he was like a successful therapist in LA, and also like a dancer for famous. So he was a famous dancer.
Who's that?
Nick Hemavig. I would have to. I'll show it to you.
Oh, you can type here. What is it? You can type.
On YouTube.
What is that?
H. Let me grab my phone real quick.
Okay. Okay. Hmm. Where do you have that? Where's that? We can type here. Where's that?
Let me try. I'm trying to find exactly where it is.
AEOMAHAVONG.
Okay.
You have
You,
that?
he has it.
Where's that? Oh, Nick, that's him.
Yeah.
Oh, he's Thai monk.
Yeah.
He's Thai monk.
Uh-huh.
Mm,
Well, he's American.
American.
Well, he was a refugee. Was very successful as a therapist
Oh.
and a dancer.
Oh, really?
And he makes these wonderful videos, just kind of how to be mindful. Like one of my favorite teachings that he offered was like, if you're having a hard time getting along with your coworkers or whomever, you get a book, and every day you make a list of something they did good. You don't tell anyone, but you just like write a compliment or something you see, that, and you have to you keep this every day. And what ends up happening, of course, is that you start to seek out the good qualities in people, and you, in essence, get along with everyone better because you're looking for what they're doing well and supporting them, rather than like going into your sort of default training and the way our minds like to be negative about it. Anyways, I thought that was a fantastic.
So right, the author, the founder of the Headspace, right, Andy.
Oh yeah.
You know him, right? He was former Buddhist monk too.
Yeah.
So most of them came back. Came back to do the work. This is more than 60 million people download his apps.
Yeah.
Meditation mindfulness.
Yeah, Headspace here, Headspace apps.
It's like
Netflix. Yeah, they've got it. Do you have Netflix? Watch it. It's like.
And
Interact.
yeah, and and this is we know, right? MBSR, founder of this. So he was Buddhist monk too. Yeah. He was trained. I forgot his name. Zin. Zin Kapin. Kabat Zin.
I don't know. Do you guys ever listen to Trudy Goodman? She is a wonderful American meditation teacher. Just, yeah.
It's peer top actually for American Buddhist monks to survive here because it's capitalist country and this.
She and John Kabat-Zinn grew up together.
Oh.
The
Okay.
guy the monk that did that, but she's just a really wonderful meditation teacher, just that you can just listen to once. She founded, I think, Inside LA, which is a really big, awesome.
So you have to know in the East, the idea to become Buddhist monks and to let go of everything, to attain enlightenment, to get our birth cycle according to Theravada tradition, even in higher tradition too. But in the West, it's not necessary. As long as you calm your mind, as long as you don't have any stress, that's more than enough. That's why it doesn't focus much on the renunciation. And when I first came to Indiana, 2000, I met some of them when they attend Dharma lectures in Indianapolis, and I saw many of them. They say that they work from Monday to Friday, and they come to the center. I mean, the Tibetan center on the weekend only. So during the day, they dress up as a person. On the weekend, they go to the center and dress up as a monk. Yeah, the monk and nun in Tibetan tradition. Because basically they have to self-support. No one will support you. There's no strong like community to support American Buddhist monk now. That's why it's a pure problem for them. Yeah, but in Vietnam or Buddhist country in East Asia, Southeast Asia is no problem.
Yeah, Australia is the same too.
Mhm.
The one of the Western monks. There's that big Western Australian Association, but like the smaller Buddhist communities.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so please can you read next one, please? Many.
Many formulations of proper Buddhist practice, from simple to advanced, were made in the course of early Buddhist history to guide the faithful. These were organized around the triad of moral practice, sila, meditation, dana, insight, or dhyana, insight, cultivation, prajna.
Hmm.
So, that is how you create merit and, moral practice and, meditation and insight.
Yeah, and you follow our conversation here?
Yes, Thầy.
So in Houston, there's many, there's some, just some of them, Buddhist monk and nun that follow this tradition. They go to the public to get the food. There's some of them, they stand in front of the market. Yeah. Yeah. So, but not here. It couldn't work here. All right. So, yeah, please. Okay.
Buddhist monasticism arose to provide refuge and support to renunciants seeking enlightenment. The tradition survived by building multifaceted relationships with lay followers. As it spread, Buddhism adapted myriad local traditions from urban centers to villages, spreading outward to frontier regions and attracting devotees of all social classes, from kings and Brahmins to merchants and artisans. All became members of the assembly, Parishad, of the ordained monks, nuns, and dedicated householders. So just sort of how it spread out to get sort of more of a lay following, and how they do adapt to the kind of literally what we were just talking about, like changing to adapt to whatever needs they have in the local community there.
Yeah. And that's why last week we discussed there's no way for me to walk down the street. I would not.
Oh, that's staying with them tried it.
He tried.
Yes.
He get anything? Oh, there's no.
He was like, I was graveyard.
So he can walk around.
He's old and he's very, when you get really old, you get really stuck in your ways. And he has gotten really rigid around certain things, and it's really difficult because he's used to being master in his temple in Nashville.
Oh, really?
And do that here. So I hope maybe he'll go home in the next week or so.
So the young monk cook for him, or they have to go out?
The young one, yeah, the young one will cook for him. And he says, but he always forgets it. The old monk forgets if he's vegetarian or if he eats meat. So, Chamba will make him one thing, and then he'll ask for the other thing.
So does someone go to do shopping for them, or they do?
Yeah, some of the well, I take come out, whatever, and I bring them stuff sometimes. And then there's some other families that, like, take them out shopping or, then there's like some Sri Lankan students. They come every couple days with,
Or they come every couple of days.
they come every couple days with like
Food.
some home cooked stuff, so.
Mhm.
They, the younger monk is very flexible and very modern.
Mhm.
The old monk is not.
TV show based on these, you know.
Not.
We want to see another.
Yeah. Kelly.
Yeah. We're at the general ideals. The general ideals of Buddhist civilization were articulated very early. Monks and nuns served the world through their example of renunciation and meditation, and by performing rituals and healing. As preservers, transmitters, and exemplars of the Dharma, members of the Sangha were obliged to be spiritually worthy, and as the Buddha instructed, show the householders the way to heaven. Householders could hope for rebirth in one of the heavenly realms. Through earning merit by making donations to the Sangha, the early communities then came to share common traits: stupas, relic shrines, as centers of community ritual, viharas as refuges for meditation, study, and material resources, and Sangha members who assume leadership of the community's religious instruction and ritual life.
Hmm.
So it was very clear about renunciation and meditation and Sangha. That you didn't have to be a monk or nun to go to one of the heavenly realms. The householders could go.
Yeah, so basically, in many sutra, the Buddha encouraged lay people that you can do dana, right? The donation, generosity. That's where you can gain the blessing in human realm and in celestial realms. That's why many, don't be surprised, many lay Buddhists in South Asia would not do meditation much because they focus on dana, on generosity. But nowadays in modern age, many of them do. Yeah.
Oh yeah, giving the monks and nuns money for them is like a requisite. Like they don't really even, like they'll go maybe even like incense or whatever, but like they feel like their obligation is just to give some of their money for the marriage, you know. They're too busy.
Yeah.
Meditation.
Ivan, please.
The Buddha's emphasis on practical spiritual endeavors adapted to each individual also contributed to the strength and diversity of the expanding tradition. He taught that there are very different kinds of people who, at different stages of spiritual development, and according to whether they are ordinary people, learners, or types, each is to be instructed differently. Regardless of the individual's ability, the rare opportunity of human birth should not be wasted. Life should be lived with purpose. And just kind of, early versions of learning, different learning styles is the person visual, physical, tactile. Are they learners? Are they naturally talented or gifted at something? And as they come to these learning centers that monasteries became, how are they brought up or trained in?
Well, in the West, usually before someone passed away, they would write out a will, right? To their spouse, their children, right? In the East, it's a similar way. But for the one that want to become Buddhist monks, now most of the time, yeah, they give all the wealth to their family members. But in the West, I think some of them, especially the wealthy one, they like to donate, right? The charity, organization, the school, the hospital. But it is mostly the focus on the families. So they give all that wealth to their family members before they become Buddhist monk now. And even for the Buddhist people, I mean that here, they used to tell them that, okay, you take care of your wealth, but then talk about the spiritual will. You need to let your children or grandchildren know what you want to do for your life, what you want to do after you pass away. Because there's a lot of confusion. Because sometimes their children, grandchildren may get married with other people that go different direction if they are non-Buddhist. There's a lot of complication and a lot of conflicts. So anyway, yeah. And Stephen, you follow me, right? You know, right?
Yes, Mofa. Yes.
Some Vietnamese Buddhist people, they have that type of problem, right? The conflict before they pass away, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, let me go up here one more. Sorry, I need to screen down first to see what's going on here. Okay, so this is the. All right, move to the next page. Oh, okay. This is. Yeah, and Stephen, can you read? Can you read, please? Yeah, go ahead, please.
After Alexander the Great's campaign of world conquest, it's kind of half covered, I think. Okay. Faltered in northwest India, the small states of the Indus River that had been weakened by his incursions were subsequently conquered and integrated into India's first large empire, that of Chandragupta Maurya, centered on the Ganges Plain and extended to the Bay of Bengal in the east and the southern Deccan Plateau in the center. When his grandson Ashoka assumed the throne, he followed the Indian royal norm of consolidating his frontier regions with brute force, directing an assault at Kalinga, a southeast coast region encompassing modern Orissa. However, Ashoka is said to have felt remorse at the widespread destruction and bloodshed that his army caused in securing victory. I'm guessing here they're just explaining about how the Indian Empire was just trying to gain, make it their own one unity as one so kind of like a dictatorship. But the only way to do that is basically to conquer everyone and forcing them to follow your ruling and everything. And of course, after, as I believe they got there, and of course, how he realized that once he got there, all the horror that he created by causing all the deaths that to get to that point. So, and he felt, obviously, he felt that it was wrong. So he realized that what he had done was wrong. So, Mofate.
We talked about this before, right? We talked about this as Joker. Yeah, this is his empire. Right here, you see this is the huge.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the hill here. That's the... It's almost Afghanistan. It's only southern tip. That's all. That's why he led his army to defeat the people what called Kalinga here. But during those fighting, so more than 100,000 people died, and he regret that. And so later on, you can read that he met a young Buddhist monk, and this turned him around 180 degrees from cruel emperor into the compassionate one. Yeah. This is huge. And later on, he set up the Buddhist monastery and Buddhist stupa and so forth. We talked about that, right? Around India, and he even sent the missionary, Buddhist first missionary to different countries.
The library, or was the library much later?
What's that?
The big Buddhist library that was like annihilated.
Ananda? Not yet. It has not been built yet.
Okay.
During his time. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You can read this here.
At just that time, the emperor encountered a charismatic Buddhist monk and became a staunch devotee. Having extended the Maya Empire across most of the Indian subcontinent, Ashoka sent ambassadors and scribes to explain the Dharma throughout his realm and beyond.
Yeah.
So
So these are what they call 9 missionaries. That is sent to. Let's see here. Yeah, so he sent to this country here. He sent to this group, to Kashmir, to Uganda. That's been in the northeastern area, Varanasi, and up to Greece. Yeah. Okay. So these are the country that he sent to. All right. Yeah, please.
Ashoka's edicts are both general and specific in their explanation of the Dharma. A term with many shades of meaning, not necessarily the Buddha's teaching specifically. He considered Dharma to be the key to a just and compassionate society. On a pillar, we had this early edict inscribed: Dharma is good, but what does Dharma consist of? It consists of a few sins and many good deeds of kindness, liberality, truthfulness, and purity. Having stated these and other principles in prominent public places, Ashoka also sought to have his bureaucracy administer the empire in accordance with them. My officials of all ranks, high, low, and intermediate, act in accordance with the precepts of my instruction. For these are the rules to govern according to Dharma, to administer justice according to Dharma, to advance the people's.
You can stop here. We can you can summarize.
Yeah, he decided to set up his entire rule, his government, and everything based on the principles of the Dharma. He learned for Buddhism.
Yeah, when you that type of high position, you have a lot of power, right? People can trust. Yeah, so actually he was the first emperor that sent the missionary group to different countries, and he actually we show you before, right? Ashoka Pila, right? Mm. 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 Here I added here. This one here, the inscription. This is at the place where he put around India, the stupa, pagoda. Yeah, he read around India here. That's huge, and it still lasts up to now. Yeah. What is that?
Who could read those?
Yeah, some experts, some linguistics experts. They
Back then, who could read?
who make it.
I think, yeah. I can't imagine very people read.
Yeah. It's interesting because the top is Guarani,
Mhm.
instead of alphabet.
Yeah.
So it was in different alphabets as well.
I guess if you're putting it all over. Like,
Mm.
have people say
Yeah, it's just take a lot of time for them to inscribe the wood into this big
Yeah.
pillar, right? Now, can you imagine it's more than 2,000 years? It's still there. And they didn't use any kind of metal rod inside that. It still survive. It's really yeah, ingenious, right? So it's not easy for them to. It's not easy even for us to do this kind of a pillar here. This make the line on the top of this lines here. Yeah, and yeah, this is in some pillar. In people in the past they kept this kept relief too.
Did you guys see the Buddhist story up front?
Yeah, we saw when we pulled up.
Yeah. So here we see that he is this guy of stupa. He inspired his word and the image of Buddha activity or Sangha activity over there now. Yeah. All right. So let's. Sorry. Let me. This is too big. I don't know where it's heading. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we can. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
happiness according.
Can you hear? Can you see?
And to protect them according to he had trees and wells planted to aid travelers, declared certain days when animal slaughter was prohibited, and worked to limit religious conflict. His inscriptions also indicate that Ashoka went on pilgrimage to visit the places the Buddha had lived. Texts recount that he unearthed the Buddha's relics from their chaityas in order to distribute them across his realm, building thousands of stupas to enshrine them. Sri Lankan chronicle tradition also link Ashoka with the transmission of Buddhism to the island. His son Mahendra, a monk, introduced the monastic ordination lineage, and his daughter, Mitra, brought a cutting of the Bodhi tree.
Okay.
So Ashoka on like a pilgrimage to find where Buddha had been and find his relics and the stupas, and it looks like his kids became monks, or his son became a monk and his daughter.
Yeah, both his son and daughter
Yeah.
became Buddhist monks and nuns. And actually, Mahinda, this is Mahendra. Yeah, we consider the founder of Buddhism in Sri Lanka. Yeah. So somehow, you know that on the freeway we have rest area, right? So he started first in India more than 2,300 years ago. Yeah, he make a rest area for people to plant the well, the trees, to aid the travelers. And he declared Sunday that they could not kill animals for food. Yeah, and he tried to limit the religious conflict and actually stand from his time. Many and up to now, many Indian people they like to be vegetarian in that position. Yeah, and yeah, he spread out Buddhist really everywhere. Mm. And there's a lot of story about Mahendra. So it's a story that it relates to him. One of the reasons why he turned things around from being a cruel emperor to the compassionate one. So the story is that I don't know whether I told you. So he created a hell on earth. That means outside we talked about that before, right? Outside he created some kind of beautiful garden, a parks. But whoever go inside there could not get out. They will be tortured to death. So one monk, some young monk,
Yeah.
so somehow he went around and somehow he ended up there. And of course they captured him. And when they was ready to torture him, so he said, well, I'm too young. I'm not afraid of death. But please give me 7 days so that I can have time to practice. And after that, you can do what you can. That's okay too. So they did. They gave him 7 days. To win that 7 days, he tried to practice meditation and so forth, and somehow he attained enlightenment. So at the end of 7 days, so they put him into the boiling pot, like the way that they torture others. But somehow, because he attained enlightenment already, so that boiling water could not affect him anything. So the jail keeper, right? So somehow so surprised, and he called the king Ashoka, and Ashoka to come down to see. Yes, he went to see that young monk, and that's why he made decision that no, from now on I destroy. I would not. I mean that he would destroy that hell on earth. And but before he went out, that jail keeper say, "Well, you told me whoever step into here, they cannot get out. So do you." So he told the jail keeper told the king, and he said, "That's okay. Yeah, I keep my promise. But who came here first?" The jail keeper. So that's why he executed that jail keeper and went out. From that time he turned around 180 degrees. This is a funny story, wonderful story. Yeah. And also
in the mind frame, and I know there are people that exist like this day that sort of just like casually like just have that person dead, kill them, you know, and just really not, I don't know, be in that mind frame where, I don't know, like for me, it would be such a massive consideration. I don't know.
yeah, Anand, you have any question, any input, Anand?
No, thanks.
And Stephen, you follow our story? You follow, right?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and the reason one more time the story about the reason why his son and daughter became Buddhist monk and nun. So he's so generous. He offered everything to the Buddhist Sangha, and one day he asked a famous monk. He said, "Well, what else can I offer to you or the monastic community?" So that monk said, "Well, the foremost one is that you can give your children, the prince or princess, to become Buddhist monk and nun." That's why he encouraged them to become Buddhist monks and nun, and he sent them to spread Buddhism there. It's not easy, right? Because in the past, right, the king and emperor like to have a prince who will take over for later on. But for him, he would not become much focused on the spiritual part of himself and others. There's big influence. Big influences. Yeah. And also when Mahendra he came to Sri Lanka, so the king, Sri Lanka king asked him, when will Buddhism spread or become popular in Sri Lanka? So his response, only when Sri Lanka men and women becoming Buddhist monk and nun. You follow me? You don't follow? You follow me? Only when someone at that location in Sri Lanka become Buddhist monk and nun, at that time Buddhism could be spread everywhere, because only local people can teach the other local one, not outsider. You understand now?
Okay.
You understand now? That's why I like you to have meditation with them. You got that now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we look for family for similarity.
Right.
Yeah, and just last week they went two couples. They came here and they asked me to do the wedding ceremony for them, and I showed them around like the way I told you, and gave them the instruction or the guidelines to do the wedding ceremony. And yes, later on, few days later, he emailed me. He loved me to do for him, but not here. That's okay. Probably because this is a strength for them. Right? Buddhist said it's quite different from church, and they get used to it. Right.
That's why we didn't want to do it.
That's many.
I didn't either, and of course, I wasn't Buddhist at the time, but I kept telling but I was like, yeah, I want to get married in the jungle with a bone group. So he didn't really go for that, but but he did surprise me when we got married in Belize. And
Where?
in Belize,
Where's that?
it's Central America.
Oh, really? I see. Okay.
So we did get married there with the Garifuna drummers and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a good negotiating tactic. Like you start way over here.
Yeah, I know. You guys so exceptional, right? When you went up there, right? At first you felt strange or no? No. Oh, really? And you too, right? Have you seen any Buddhist center before you went up there?
Yeah,
I did.
We had gone to that. We'd come to the.
No, I mean that.
monastery.
I know. Before that, never.
Yeah, I had for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, they went to my monastery since 2005, 6.
I started going when you were in the house in New Albany.
Oh yeah, it was 2000,
Yeah, it was
2001.
like right when you came.
Oh really?
And,
Oh, okay.
I went up when they started building. the monastery.
Wow, it's 2001. More than 20 years.
For me, it was a baby. For taking her to the monastery, it's like she was a baby.
14 or 15.
Yeah, 14 years ago at least.
Oh, wow. But many people I know, the local people, they like the place, but it's the strength for them to come to Buddhist temple. It's understandable.
Yeah, it's the cultural difference. It's
That's
not
fine.
sure what's gonna happen,
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do. It's like, it's with stays.
Yeah, Stephen, have you ever invited some of your friends to come Buddhist center, whether in Indianapolis or here before? I mean, American friends or non-Buddhist friends?
No, not really. Most of them, they were just interested in general, the concept of what Buddhism is, and I just try to explain the best I could of what I've learned so far. But some of them, didn't ask much, so I just explained them just general talk like that. So mofakte.
Anand, have you ever introduced your non-Buddhist friends, American friends, to come to Buddhist center in Indianapolis or somewhere else before?
there are cases where because of corporate America, they trying to help the senior manager to expose to different culture and be more diverse and more inclusive. So sometimes I serve like a point person for them to come to me, and I did invite them or show them to go to a couple temple in India. However, most of the people are my friends because they knew that I was the former, Vietnamese community chairperson. So there's a lot of cultural activity that happen at the temple, such as New Year, the Mid Autumn Festival, and through that conversation, they talk. They attend the Buddhist temple, and we talk about some of the cultural traditions and things we do, at New Year and at celebrations and things like that. So through that conversation, they are interested more of the meditations practices than the actual weekly, ceremonial activity or sutra chanting and so on and so forth. So I think most of people are more like yoga, meditations, stress reliever, those type of activity that they're more interested in.
So my student in my Buddhist class, in my Asian Buddhist class, I assigned them to do the field trip in Houston because there's a lot of all kind of Buddhist center there in Mahayana tradition, the Theravada, Vajrayana, Tibetan, and so forth. So they have plenty of chances to go, but some of them they get stuck because some of them, when they go to some Buddhist center like Chinese one or Vietnamese one, some of them they could not understand much. So I usually encourage them to come my center. I don't require them, but encourage them so that they can understand how we do in bilingual. Yeah, whether it's especially in the special celebration.
And your mother there speaks English.
Yeah, definitely. I think we do it bilingual. It's pure even here too. When you go there, most of them can speak English or they have normal conversation. It's not easy. That's why we need you. Right? We need you to to introduce and to work with them. And last Sunday, Sam he did the chanting with us.
Yeah, it was on his Instagram.
Yeah, you saw that. He did the chanting. He told a story. Yeah, I really like you got to participate in that and share with the local people. I think they feel more comfortable. Like the New Year, right? Yeah, you did feel a good job there. Yeah. Okay, so let us finish. Okay, so see you then. Thank you.
Okay.